A comprehensive estate plan is something that takes care of your responsibilities, everything that you own, everything that you take care of, like your children and your pets, your spouse, your parents sometimes, your loved ones. Takes care of them both financially and physically in the event that you're no longer able to, or when ultimately, as all of us will have happen, when you ultimately pass away and are no longer here. It's very important that you determine what happens to your finances, make sure that things are taken care of properly, and make sure that your children and your pets are taken care of properly. A comprehensive plan takes care of all those things. A lot of people think, well, I've got a will and that determines, who gets my finances. Well, you're missing out on, well, what happens when you're incapacitated? If you're in the hospital for 6 months and no one has access to your bank accounts, no one has the ability to make financial decisions, pay your rent, take care of your kids, take care of your pets, then what happens? So a comprehensive plan is going to take care of everything from incapacity all the way through your passing. And people forget about things like the pets. Too often what happens is that they'll be in a car wreck, a husband and wife. Well, they're taken to the hospital both unconscious. The phones are smashed. And so the nurse cuts the man's wallet out of his pocket, opens it up, and they have a driver's license. Driver's license has the name and address. So they send the police to do a welfare check. The police show up. The kids are with a babysitter. So they dismiss the babysitter, and the kids go into foster care that night. And the police call CPS to come pick them up. The acceptable number of minutes for our clients to have their kids in CPS care is 0. We want to make sure that that's taken care of. The other thing that they do is they put the pets at the pound, and pets accidentally get euthanized or they get adopted out before you get time to go pick up your pets. It's horrible. It's a tragedy. A comprehensive plan puts a card in your wallet that's driver's license quality with the numbers to call and our law office firm number at the bottom of that says, here's who I am. I have a spouse, this many children and pets. Please call these people in this order. And if not, call the law firm. For our clients, if I have to come and rescue your pet and take them to my house, I'll do it. One way or the other. You're not getting your pets lost. You're not having your kids going to CPS care. We get all that stuff taken care of. We'll do financial powers of attorney, medical powers of attorney, and we will line out everything that's going to happen according to your wishes. That's a comprehensive estate plan. That's what we do at healthyestateplan.com. So what a trust is imagine it like an empty box, and it's considered like a legal person. So it's an imaginary box, and there's rules to the box, and there's things in the box, and there's somebody that holds the box, and then there's somebody that benefits from the things that are in the box. So the trust is the box, and so you put your property into the box, and the person that holds the box and can take things out and use the things in the box is called the trustee. That's the person that you trust with your stuff. Then the beneficiary is the person who benefits from the use of the stuff. That can be you, that can be your kids, that can be your spouse, and there can be different rules based on when one of you passes away and how that can work. And also, you can be the trustee that holds the box. Well, if the property is in the box, then the property actually belongs to the trust, and the trustee controls that for the benefit of the beneficiaries. If you pass away, then the rules of the trust, the rules that you create, can specify that the stuff in the trust automatically goes to your spouse that then gets to handle it. So all of that stuff passes what's called outside of probate because it's handled by the trust rules, not by the court rules. So you don't own the stuff anymore. It's in the trust. The trust owns it. You just get to be the trustee and the beneficiary of the trust while you're alive. That's called a living trust. And then after you pass away, then your beneficiaries, they get the stuff they get to be the beneficiary of it, but it's protected in the trust. If they get sued by somebody else, then if they own property individually, that property can be taken away. But if it's in that trust, if they're sued, their creditor, whoever they owe the money to, or whoever they lost the lawsuit to, cannot take stuff out of the trust. It's protected. So a trust is a good protection instrument. It helps to in the transition smoothly as part of a good estate plan for when someone passes away. And but it can also be very complicated. You have to make sure that you're actually operating it correctly. A lot of times, people will create a trust and never put anything in that box, and so they have this great, awesome trust that's supposed to do everything, but they still own all their own property because they never transferred the property in the trust. So it can be complicated. You have to actually operate the trust properly as if you're the trustee, because you're like, well, that's my house. No, it's not your house. It's the trust's house if you put the house in the trust. And there's some things that you do want to put in the trust, some things that you don't. Sometimes you want to have a separate or different trust for vehicles than you have for other property. Sometimes you have multiple trusts. It just depends on what your goals are. A good estate planning attorney will help you create the right trust for you if a trust is the right thing for you. Some people use joint ownership as a way to avoid probate, and that has its disadvantages and its advantages. So if you have it to where automatically on the death of the first person, the second person owns all of the property, that can be okay as a way to avoid probate. But to avoid probate, they're still going to have some issues when they try and sell that house, because they're going to need the death certificate. They're going to have to go through a couple of different steps. I find it actually cleaner to go ahead and just go through the probate process, rinse all that property and bless it as from creditor claims or other kind of different type of claims from that might be on that original person's estate, to go through the probate process. And joint ownership is not one of the things I'm a huge fan of, but it really just depends on the circumstance and situation. Some people it's appropriate for, some people it's not appropriate for. One of the complications that you can have is that on death or divorce, it can create potential problematic complications in that property. So if you have that, you really need to speak to an attorney. Don't try and do that just on your own, thinking that you found something that's a good idea for you without having really extensive discussion about how that would fit into your comprehensive, full, healthy estate plan that you put in place for yourself. Don't try and just piecemeal that out and say, well, that sounds like a good idea, let's do that. It can have some real negative consequences. There's also some differences in separate and community property issues that you can have with that in the state of Texas. So before you're going to consider any kind of joint ownership, especially between a parent and child, make sure that you talk to a lawyer before you do anything like that. Gifting assets can be a really good tool for generational wealth transfer as part of an estate plan and planning death. Every year there is every year there's a change in the federal gift tax amount, and you also have a lifetime gift tax amount that you can give away in order to avoid estate taxes and for tax planning. Because basically, you want to pay your taxes. It's good. It's, a civil duty in the United States right now to pay your taxes, although obviously they're way too high. Our founding fathers threw tea into the harbor for a 2 to 3% tax or 1% tax. And now we're taxed over 50% with all the different taxes that we have to pay. So we're paying enough taxes. You should pay your taxes by law, but you don't have to leave the government a tip. So let's not overpay those taxes. Gift while you're alive. Gifting to your kids, grandkids, or other people can be a way to help you plan and avoid those taxes for your future. If you think that's what you want to do, don't also try and just do it on your own. You got to keep really good records of that stuff. You need to talk to your tax professional, and you need to talk to your estate planning attorney to make sure that gifting to avoid those taxes makes sense in light of your full comprehensive plan. So visit us at healthyestateplan.com. I like tipping waiters. I like tipping Uber drivers. I like tipping servers and a variety of different people. But you know who I don't want to leave a tip for? The government. Do not overpay your taxes. Get a proper estate plan that prevents you from having to pay estate taxes, known as death taxes, when you pass away, so that you can keep your legacy intact. Go to healthyestateplan.com.